Welcome back. It is yours truly, Nick, a Movie AV Impulse. And as I continue my remake kind of segment thing that I'm doing, this is going to be part two because there was just way too many to mention in part one. So this is going to be part two of remakes that I think are better than the original. I've got two honorable mentions plus a five. So between this video and the last video, part one, if you haven't seen it, I will leave it at the end of this video. I highly recommend you watch both of them and stick around to the end because I have an announcement, as I got a special guest coming on that I have been waiting for a while. But first, let's get into that intro.
Makes you think, what's the channel about? What's this really about? It's about teaching life lessons, teaching the youth. It's about top fives, movie reviews. That's what makes you who you are, makes you what you are. There's no rules in this game. There's no parameters. Just truth. So, 2-3 weeks from now, you're gonna wish you subscribed. 2-3 weeks from now, you're gonna be looking for Movie AV Impulse. Okay, I'm reloaded. Let's go.
All right, let's start with the weakest link, and that's going to be coming in at number 5, which is going to be House of Wax. Now, to be fair, the original was made in the 50s, 1953. The 2005 remake, I think, really got a lot of hype because at that time, Paris Hilton, she was really huge. I personally don't think she can act at all, like as far as an actress goes. I didn't like her, but they had that reality TV show out. So it was just extremely huge and she was just in everything. Number 4, I seen this when I was a little kid, although it is not the very first movie I seen in theaters. It is the very first movie I seen at a drive-in. My grandmother took me with my grandfather. That is going to be 1988's The Blob. Now, the original 1958, I have to give credit to it. For the time, I thought it was very good. But this 88 remake was just totally awesome. You're literally seeing people getting eaten by the blob, and I absolutely love this one. It is one of those staples that will forever be in my heart because I watched this when I was a kid, and I remember we used to have like the putty that you would stick on the newspaper, and you would be able to like stretch out and have the print on that putty. And it was just like, I really thought that I was being held by the blob, and I used to put it on my hand and kind of like react the movie scenes because it was just that impactful. And I do not remember what the second movie was in that drive-in theater because I was passed out. We went to this, as you know, drive-in theaters usually start when the sun falls, so you're out there for late, but I kind of really miss those days of drive-in theaters. Now, coming in at number 3, I'm really kind of pissed off that this didn't get a sequel or keep running with it, because when it comes to Marvel movies, this one really is one of my favorites. I own this one. It is in my collection. I have it on 4K. I freaking love this movie, and that is going to be The Punisher from 2004. Now, the original 1989 with Dolph Lundgren, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. For its time, it was like okay, but it wasn't great. John Travolta as the villain, he was just so cold-hearted, and I loved it. And I loved the manipulation in the movie, the plot, the twist, everything. And the way that they killed his family was just insane. And then you really get a glimpse of that Punisher t-shirt when he finds it on the island when his son gives it to him. That movie was so crazy. I just absolutely love this one. I don't know why they didn't keep going with this Punisher, but it was freaking awesome. Coming in at number 2, now the original 1960s version was okay. I remember my grandmother watching this all the time on that big old box TV floor model. The only reason why I think this movie got as popular as it was is because it had the Rat Pack. And that is the reason why my grandmother watched it, because she loved the Rat Pack. She had all the vinyls, and it was absolutely crazy how many times she had to watch this movie. But when the remake of Ocean's 11 from 2001 came out, it was just spectacular. The entire cast was crazy. They kept going. I thought all of them were good except for Ocean's 8. And I think for the really older people, they'll still say they like the original more because, like I said, it was the Rat Pack. The Rat Pack was huge. I mean, they just completely took over Las Vegas back in those days, so I understand. But to me, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, the late and great Bernie Mac, you just can't. That's just a combination you can't touch. Now, my 2 honorable mention, the first one being the original that was made in 1910, was a silent film, more on the serious side. And then they remade it to a 1920s silent film as well, but they added a little bit of comedic in there to kind of make it a little bit more entertaining. But then The Wonderful Wizard of Oz came out in 1939, and this version is just absolutely amazing. This is my mother's favorite movie in the entire world, so you can imagine how many times I have watched this. The practical effects, the paintings that were drawn and painted for the backgrounds, the whole entire myth, conspiracy theories around this movie, just everything. The other one, of course, it is a remake of the Omega Man that originally came out in 1971, but the remake of 2007's I Am Legend starring Will Smith, there are a very select few people that can carry a movie by themselves. And we're talking like Tom Hanks, he can do it. He did it in Castaway. Will Smith in this movie, I Am Legend. But very few can actually pull that off. And I just love I Am Legend. Although I will be honest, I am not looking forward to the sequel that is coming out because, in my opinion, they just really don't need it. I think that the story ended just fine unless you watch the alternate ending to the Blu-ray version. For me, I just don't really feel like there's any kind of need for this except for maybe Will Smith making this huge comebacks with Bad Boys 4 coming out. So maybe that's just, he's just trying to get whatever role he can since that infamous slap. And coming in at number 1, which I'm gonna be honest, this number 1 isn't really my number 1. My number 1 will come in next week's for a different topic.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
I will have, and if you don't know him, you better get to know him. I have the Fuzz coming to do a top 5 with me. So in that video, I will show you my actual number 1. I just wanted to leave it out of this video because it is going to be in my top 5 personally. Because when it comes to this actor, nobody, but nobody is better than this man. And it's just my opinion. One of my favorites, hands down. So stay tuned for that because that is coming next Wednesday with the Fuzz. And if you don't know who he is, I will link him down below. He is awesome, amazing, and he makes longer length videos, which I like because I like to stay intrigued, and he makes it very fun and interesting. So anyways, let's get to the number 1 because I know you guys are probably yelling at me, but love y'all anyways. And that is going to be The Fly from 1986 with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. This remake is totally amazing. Now, I seen the first one maybe 2 times. I remember my grandmother watching it when it came on TV. And if you've never seen it, whether you know it or not, and you grew up watching this movie, you have seen a clip of this movie. The part where Savage is going into the closet and there's that video playing on the TV and it's the woman trapped in the spider web. Yeah, that is from The Fly, the original 1958 version. So if you've never seen it, at least if you watched Little Monsters, you have seen an actual clip. So that is going to be my top 5 with a couple honorable mentions that are way better than the original. You know, I would love to hear your comments down below. And this is going to conclude my remake month. I mean, I might do it again in the future as new movies are coming out because Hollywood is just running out of ideas. So they just keep remaking things. Stay tuned for Sunday as I got another life lesson coming. I also will have, like I said, the fuzz on the next top 5. And we are doing one amazing actor. So you want to stay tuned for that. And the Sunday after that, I am going to be bringing you a review like none other. Anyways, love y'all. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you.